side by side on the runway.
Hey, guys.
We'll come back to
All right, we'll call the meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nice course.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Next on our agenda is to approve our agenda.
Move. Second.
Motion by Weiss, second by Denner. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time we'll open the meeting up for any public comment. Let me also announce that our phone lines are not working today, so we weren't able to connect to get communication outside, and we're not able to receive phone calls, so we apologize for that. IT is working on the issue. At this time, we'll open the meeting up for any public comment. Anyone wish to address the commission this morning on any topic that isn't on the agenda? Good morning.
Good morning, Commission, and yes, Representative Elmer, I had an appropriation meeting last week, and Commissioner Greenfield gave an update on Richmond Dam, and also got some information from Bar Engineering. I'll go through what's been done, what's planning to be done, and an interesting conversation we had during that appropriation committee. So basically, the progress report, and as I read through the progress report, one of the things is all the vocabulary that you have to pick up on. The different words that, for example, I'll just go through some of them. In the report, they talk about SFC, which is Sioux Falls Construction. They talked about Bauer Foundation Corp., which is BFC, and then they got CEID, which is Cascade Environmental Interstate Drilling. So as you read through the reports, you got to try to piece those all together. So anyway, Sioux Falls Construction has completed a primary drawdown of Richmond Dam with a reading showing 1,349.07 at the start of the reporting period. Sioux Falls Construction restored access to the temporary crane pad, repaired the power pack, and resumed driving sheet piles in the upstream cofferdam. Sioux Falls Construction earthwork contractor Foothills completed the excavation of the new working pad foundation, passed subgrade inspection, and began construction of the new working pad. They also completed the testing and continued installing guide walls on the dam embankment. So that's the progress report. And then the next part of the report talks about a 2-week look ahead. In the coming 2 weeks, Sioux Falls Construction will focus, and this report came out early last week, so you get a perspective. We're halfway through this 2-week look ahead period. In the coming 2 weeks, Sioux Falls Construction will focus on driving sheet piles in the upstream cofferdam to facilitate timely completion of the upstream sheet pile. Sioux Falls Construction will begin driving pile 24 hours a day, 6 days per week, starting last Monday. Foothills, who is one of the contractors will be working on the construction of the working pad, is currently placing 2,000 cubic yards of earth fill per day and plans to complete the working pad around July 22nd, which will be a week ago. Once completed, their focus will shift to construction of the cofferdam earth fill. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the conversation we had during the appropriation committee on Monday, last Monday. And,
Al, can you speak up just a little bit more? We're hard to hear back here.
I am sorry.
I don't have my hearing aid turned on.
I am sorry, and I will do better.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. The conversation, Commissioner Greenfield with the School of Public Lands gave an extensive report last Monday, and you're welcome to go listen on the internet as to that report. As he went into great detail, I gave a much smaller summation. But one of the comments that was made was they had a 7-inch rain and a 4-inch rain, and we all thought, well, that's really bad because now you got to drain the lake twice or 3 times, 2 or 3 times. The comment that was made by Commissioner Greenfield, I believe it was, said that we're very fortunate that we had the lake drained to the degree we did, because had the lake not been drained and we got 7 inches of rain, we don't know if the dam would have held or not held. So that was an amazing set of timing that we were able to have the lake partially drained when that 7 inches came down. So with that, it's been a long process on this particular dam because of all the new information that kept coming out as the engineers went deeper and deeper into the project. So with that, thank you for giving me the time to give a report. And as part of the last point is, as part of the law that was in appropriations that was done, there was an amendment put in on the House floor that said they're required, the School and Public Lands is required, and the Office of Engineers required to give an update on a regular basis so that we will stay up to date as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Anyone else have anything? Morning, Dirk.
Howdy. I just got a couple of quick updates. They are set up and ready to go down on Brown County 14, and that equipment occupies a lot of space, and they're waiting for the oil to show up, which, if you're familiar with county chip sealing, that happens a lot. But so they're going to be going today, and it'll be every day pretty much until it's like 2 weeks worth of work down there, and then they should be out of there. As I said before, the north half of that is a little bit of a test situation. We're probably not exactly matching the best process with the condition of the road, but we'll see what we end up with there. And the south end should come out pretty good. So, and then the 10th they're going to start on the cold in place. Like I said the other day, that's the same time as, it's around the same time as the fair, but they're out on from the back corner going 6 miles south. So I don't think it'll be that impactful. And the road, both roads are open. It's just they can't move. It's not, if you're too wide, they're going to tell you to turn around. They can't pick up and get out of your way. So outside of that, we just apparently we're mowing out, Mike. So we did start on that a little earlier than normal, but it works good to do it in conjunction with the fair starting. So. Other than that, matter of fact, if I wasn't coming up the list, then I probably wouldn't have had a report, but it's just to let you know everything's moving on the same schedules. Like I mentioned, the work the DOT's gonna do on Prairiewood in preparation for the detour of the 6th Avenue Bridge being closed, we'll get them so that they're not working during the fair. I would assume that's the best solution there, so.
Sure.
Okay. All right, that's it.
All right. Thanks, Dirk. Anyone else have anything to add or comment on? Seeing none, we will move on. Next up, Jeff Forsting, Brainerd Township with drainage issues. Morning, Jeff.
Start us out on it.
Start here at the end of the table and tell us what you got.
Well, we can. Jeff Forsteen, Scott Denner. Jeff Hansen, he's here too, the other supervisor. We're kind of at a dilemma. We really don't know what to do up there anymore. We've been sued now. This will be served twice. We have been about. I guess we start off from the beginning. I guess where.
Yeah, we authorized the replacement of a culvert because it was bent up. If it was frost, whatever. Anyway, the landowner decided just to put a bigger culvert in. He lined up the Jacobs because they had one in their township, so we said that's fine, Jacobs can put it in, but we told them we needed to be notified when they were there to do it, and we weren't. And so there was 2 18s there. He put in a 24 in instead of one of the 18s. So we requested them just to change it back like it was. It never happened. And we went back and forth, and finally we had a meeting, and they appealed their decision. At our meeting, we just abandoned our decision for them to replace it, and we said we would just replace it back at the township expense to its original. So they filed a restraining order against us to not be able to do anything until it went to court. So,
Which was a year ago.
well, this started 2 years ago. This
Yeah,
whole
2 years
situation started 2 years ago. So, there's 2 appeals cases, and now they just filed against us. They're actually suing us for damages to their land because we didn't allow proper drainage.
which it's a 60-acre slope.
It's in that prairie pothole region, it's just full. So there's two, so at that site, there's an 18 and a 24. If you go north of there, which they had a study done, IMEG did a study, and he claims if you go north of there, that area, 8,100 acres drains through that area. Okay, so just immediately to the northwest corner of their property, there's a road. We got a township road. It's a minimum maintenance road, but it's got grade to it all the way. So the only way water can get to theirs from the north is through a 24-inch culvert in that road that's coming from the north. And if you go north another mile, we have a township road that's fully maintained, and there's a culvert in there. So every mile line almost, we go 2 miles, then we have the county road 7, which has whatever for culverts, I don't know, but it has to come through culverts there to get to this. So it isn't like the whole 8,100 acres just comes down there and gets to their 2 culverts and has to drain. It's, it's slowed at every township road. And then it gets over, it drains south, it goes under Brown County 9, which is 118. Goes another mile, goes under, and there's 2 36s in the county road. Goes another mile, there's 3 36s and 119, and then it goes on to the river. It just crosses land, then there's no more roads, and it gets to the river. So we feel they have adequate drainage. I've got several pictures and videos of it on occasion that they'll have 20-some acres of water standing on theirs, and videos of the culverts, there's no flow anymore. It's not going to take it off. It boils down to the fact we can't make water run uphill. It just sits there once it gets to a certain point.
And the other thing is, this road is, with the 2 18-inch culverts that have been in there, they've been in there since God
They've been
knows
in there
when.
30 years, 40 years.
And we went through the winter, the wet years from 92, 3, 96, 97, 8, 9, and the road's never been underwater. I mean, the culverts that we had in there have always been adequate, and the township's duty is to maintain the roads and the culverts, and that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But we're being sued now because they want to get back pay, more or less, on what they say they've lost over the years because the water can't come off their property.
And
Which, if that's the case, that would open up every township around for not having a culvert in the right location, because there's water on some area of ground. Like I told Drew the other day, I said, why can't I go, there's 2 36s in on Highway 10 up there to come into my place. I only got 2 24s going out. I said, I'll just go put 3 36s in, then I'll just take and put County Road 16 underwater, trying to get the water off my ground quicker. But I'm not gonna do that, but that's more or less what's going on here.
it started because their culverts were plugged. That's why they had no drainage to begin with. So we addressed that issue.
One culvert was
You
not
know.
draining.
So,
But even if that one culvert not draining, the water still not going over top of the road.
but, their claim was last year we only had 9 to 10 inches of snow and they had an issue. Well, I looked back, it was either the year prior or the year prior to that, Aberdeen recorded 72 inches of snow, I believe, and there was not a problem. The culverts were draining and it wasn't an issue. Nobody contacted me about it being a problem. So it just became a problem, and it's, what happens is rushes clog the culverts with low line, they mow the ditch with a sycamore, and where are they gonna go when you get water? they're gonna go to the low spot. And
Mhm.
so I guess we just wanted to bring it in front of the commission, so he was aware of what's going on with us. And if it goes to court and we lose, it could become a big issue for every township.
Well, we've already spent, between the township and us.
Well, yeah, we're at our limit with the public assurance, with the legal fees there, and we spent, $7,000 out of our own money, and we're 2 years down the road, and we ain't seen the inside of a courtroom yet.
So we figure we'll just keep fighting this, and they keep fighting us. We'll just keep fighting until we go broke, and then we'll just hand the books over to you guys, and you guys can take it down.
Then it's our problem.
That'll fix it.
So that's where we're at.
Okay, well, as you know, we dissolved several years ago as a drainage board, so we don't get involved in drainage issues anymore. And, it is on township roads, so at this point, it's not directly impacting any of the county roads. And it sounds,
But it could,
it could. but-
because they're suing us to put in 424s.
Right.
The first road down the line is County 9 that has the 236s,
Yep.
which have been washed out and gone. You remember what year it was?
No, I'd have to look.
And that's
Yeah.
with 218s in there.
That was just with what was
And then they
there.
wanna put 424s.
'Cause
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole nother draw that drains into that goes through the county road.
Sure,
So there's a lot of extra water it gets to there.
sure.
Yeah, there's a significant amount more water that flows underneath County 9 than flows through these two
Yes.
18-inch
Oh,
culverts.
yes.
absolutely.
Because, and I was gonna add too, I'm not gonna dispute the number of acres they said that drains into that, but you guys all know that there's kind of a bowl in the middle right up against 116th. All that water comes in, and most of it never leaves.
No.
Just because that's so much lower in that one spot, so it's gotta go down, and the water has to get really high before it ever leaves. So really not even that much water, to me, is
But
flowing
he
through these culverts compared to
But there's
29.
study didn't compensate for any roads north
Mhm.
of there. I mean, he just says it's all drains to this area and it's gotta go through these culverts. Well, it gets stopped at every road. It's, you know, if you wanna put it simply, every road creates a dam, and, I mean,
An obstruction.
Yep.
So,
Certain amount of restriction there, yep.
You know, and we were pretty nice about it. We said, well, here's the deal. We said, you know, if you can get permission from the people that it does affect down this line, we'll let you leave the 24 in there. And he said, well, that'd be no problem. Well, he went, tried to get a signature, he couldn't get one signature. More people said that, you know, that'd be fine to leave it the way it is.
we can't use the landowner's downflow as, against us, but we can use it as a liability issue. If we allow too much drainage on their land, then we become liable for excess water on somebody else's, so. Kinda caught in the middle.
Well, we appreciate you coming in and keeping us aware of what's going on. Dennis, did you have a question?
I guess, I was always under the impression that if a county didn't have a drainage board designated, then the county commission acted as the drainage board. And I'm not sure if that's in code, but I was always under the impression that, the county commission has an obligation to, what would be the right word, to try to, negotiate, drainage issues, acting as the drainage board. So, you know, I just, I guess all the time that I served as county commissioner, I always felt that way. It never worked that way, but I just am wondering if that has, maybe the state's attorney would have some information on that. But I really think that the county commission has an obligation on drainage issues to negotiate or resolve those issues.
Well, the way I understand it and the way I remember it, when we were advised by the state's attorney several years ago to dissolve as a drainage board, it was primarily due to the fact that we really didn't have any authority, because if we if we told someone they couldn't do it and they did it anyway, there were no repercussions. Legally, there were no repercussions. And vice versa. That's why we dissolved as, because we were meeting every week as a drainage board, as you remember back in the wet years. Well, now it's basically comes down to, it's a civil issue. So the suing that's going on back and forth is, the way I understand it, and the state attorney can correct me, but the way I understand it, it's a civil matter, and you guys are left to sue each other back and forth until something does or doesn't get resolved. Ross, do you have any additional?
If you guys dissolved as a drainage board, according to ordinance, the drainage board is the county commission. I'm not aware of the board ever dissolving. Now, there is a process where you make a written application to the administrative official, which I'm going to assume is Scott Bader. He can offer a solution, and then you can appeal to the drainage board. The drainage board then decides whether they want to accept jurisdiction over this class of dispute. Can say yes or no. If they accept jurisdiction, then we set a hearing, have another hearing, where the board makes a decision, which ultimately could be a referral to the circuit court. So all roads lead to a lawsuit here. And that's where the utility of it is something you guys need to consider.
Or in this case, all water flows to a lawsuit.
Yeah.
We have no legal stand. In short, we have no legal standing. We have no repercussions, we have no
You
legal
can make
standing,
a
we have no...
decision, you can make,
It's not binding, though.
direct the administrative official to issue a stop work order, and then at that point, it does become the county's problem.
Right, which then that just takes their issue and becomes our issue, which maybe it will anyway, but probably costs more money, right, in the end.
Dennis?
Well, I know that there's other counties, I'm pretty sure that Edmonds County Commission acts as a drainage board, and I know McPherson County Commission acts as the drainage board. They have issues, pretty regular that come in to the county commission acting as drainage board. So, I guess I'd be a little bit concerned that if a delegation of farmers or people that were affected by drainage were to hire an attorney and to present it to the county commission, might bring a lot of this stuff to a head. And I guess I've always kind of encouraged the people, to pursue that, because I think that there's some area there that isn't very well explained or described, and so I guess I would just encourage the county commission to take some action.
And at this point, I'm not sure what that action would be, quite
Yeah,
honestly, unless...
What do you guys, are you just coming to make us aware of it, or are you asking for something?
Well, we just wanna know what avenue we can take or gotta take,
Other
because,
than us condemning the people that are being bad neighbors, which
Well-
I'm happy to do, because all they're doing is, everybody that lives in that township that's paying taxes is now having to pay
Right.
for their little
But it,
issue that's just a neighbor issue.
but it could become a deal for you guys if they get the 424s in there to
Right.
affect your road.
then,
Well, then we have to sue them. But, which,
well, then, the issue there is then the downstream landowners are gonna probably sue them, and we're gonna be listed in that lawsuit, so we're gonna be back in court again.
Yeah.
You'll be
There's no-
sued because you had to do something against your will, but you're still responsible for it.
Yes, I mean, so...
If you would lose the lawsuit.
Yes,
for the
if we would lose the
424.
lawsuit and have to replace the culverts.
Which I think if you guys actually, not that I can, get my crystal ball out and read the mind of a hypothetical judge. However, I do think that 95 out of 100 reasonable people who look at this situation and look at the culverts, look at the fact that the culverts are lower than the ground both to the east and the west, and realize that there's no flow, would look at it and say that there's adequate drainage there. But I could be wrong.
That's what we thought too,
That- well,
2 years
yeah.
ago already, but
Right.
this has been dragging on, and it's taken a lot of taxpayers' money and taken a lot of money out of our township.
And if you go back 10 years, it was a quarter of pasture and there was never an issue.
Yeah.
They're trying to farm it now.
Do you guys have, I'm going out in the weeds, do you have a road levy? right now, do you guys have any levy on, at the township level?
Do you have the secondary road?
Secondary road levy or?
Not that I'm aware of.
We just opt out, you know.
You do have an option?
We're opted out.
Yeah, we're opted out.
We're opted out, and
We opted out back,
So-
quite a few years ago.
This is coming at it from a different angle. And the first thing I'll say is, Scott called me 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and the original question you were asking me that day was about the 24 going in there instead of the 18. And, Matt, you can help me out, but what do we got downstream? 236s, I think, is the first thing that we come to.
Yep.
And so at the time, I think, you were just wondering if we were gonna have a dog in the fight if they put the 24 in there, and I said, I can't really justify that, 'cause downstream, we got the 236s. If all of a sudden 4 2-footers end up in your road up there, like later this week, we'll be right behind them with the excavator, because that's an entirely different animal.
well, his
You news guys don't have to print it that way, but my point is, that's, it's one thing to go up the 6 inches,
Right.
which is, what, 133% increase
Yeah.
or whatever, but this is an entirely different thing we're talking about for 4 2s, or 4 2-footers. To me, right now, based on what we're talking about, that needs to be set over here, because that triggers a whole different thing. And then it does automatically suck the county in, and someone will have to prove to us that that's necessary, because it will impact us downstream. So, I don't want us to get twisted up in what might happen, because that's not gonna happen without some reaction from the highway department and hopefully the county commission. I don't mean to drag you in, but once it starts affecting our road, then that's a different story,
Well,
okay?
It becomes our problem.
So, just take that, I'm not saying it won't happen or whatever, but that's, to me, that's a whole nother, that's like when we show up with the mill, 'cause I'm pissed off, and we're just gonna mill your road up, you know what I mean? That's a whole different deal.
Yeah, but 424s would equate to your 236.
Exactly. And, okay, now the reason I asked you about the opt-out, and I'm not sure where this money helps, because you can't use it to pay attorneys. But if we got you squared away so you're in the RAFE program, and I don't wanna argue taxing yourselves, my question is, I call some townships and they say, you stupid son of a bitch, you think we're gonna tax ourselves to get a culvert? Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. But the engineering side of the stuff can be done with the RAFE money. So I would have to review where you guys are at. Your opt-out's a good thing, and you might have to put something in your minutes, but there is money there where you could at least get, you can use that money to have an engineering study done that's all legit and all right, and it'll say, okay, this is what'll happen in this scenario, this is what happened in this scenario, and then you would at least have that, and you can hang your hat on that, because if it's a PE, that's the first thing I do, get a PE to agree with me, and then it makes guys, harder on guys like Ross there to tell you you're wrong, you know? That's an avenue, but I just gotta check a couple things if you're interested in that. You're limited on what you can use that money for, and I also have to double check, we might not have inventoried it yet because you weren't in the program before and all that kind of stuff. But as a side note, there's, how much money do we have in there? It's a chunk.
Yeah,
Like,
200 and some thousand.
It's a few $100,000 we have in there for the townships, and currently only 3 of them are using it. That might be a financial thing. I doubt you can use it until after they sue you, maybe, I don't know. I don't think you can use that money for that, but you could certainly use it to do some engineering work so that you have proof of what you're saying. Does that make sense?
Factual data.
Does that, you know, that might be
Or
something
you do an
worth
engineer.
pursuing.
So what you're saying is our opt-out money we get, we can't use for legal fees?
No, you forget, you can take your money and go over and drink the bourbon of the week at
Okay.
I could care less. I'm just
Okay.
saying, if we go through this process
The RAFE money.
to get you, so
We
you can
can get
use
some
this
extra
RAFE
for
money,
this.
you can use that money to either, to install it even, if you came to a resolution and you guys wanted to put in all new pipe and everybody agreed that we're gonna put 2 new 24s and that's where you end up or whatever,
Yeah.
you could use that money to do that too. But all I'm saying in this application, and like I said, I gotta check, make sure a few boxes are checked, but there might be a way that you guys can access that money for the engineering parts of this thing, and at least you can say, all right, this is what's actually happening there.
Well, if it comes to that point, I would think you would want to have it engineered also. You'd want to be at our back on the deal.
Yeah, to some extent, I mean, I
Because-
gotta be careful, I know, but,
I know you do, but, you're the first one it's gonna affect.
no, I know that, and I also, I mean, from the first time he called me, I know how this argument looks at the counties if we're a united front, but we
Yes.
also, I gotta pussyfoot it a little bit, because I spent $18,000 down in No Hope Township trying to prove to somebody that their culvert was big enough, and I don't wanna have to do that
Yeah,
all the
I
time.
realize that.
So, but I'm not discounting anything you guys are saying, it's just, I'm also gonna have a lot of, realism as we walk through it, and I'm not a fan of going, oh my God, and no offense to you, Al, but the sky's falling, 'cause, you know, if we didn't have I don't like coming up with disaster scenarios. Let's look at what we're dealing with right now and how we can address
Yeah.
that.
With the money that they've provided and what we've provided and putting in the culvert that was wrong, we're right at $40,000.
I believe it.
We ain't been in the courtroom yet.
Dennis?
Do you guys, township guys, know whether or not, those that are suing the township have had an engineering study, or have had engineers out there crawling around?
They did,
They did.
they did a study. That's where the recommendation was for the 414.
That's probably, that goes back to what,
Yeah.
Drew said too, that it's probably, and, you know,
I mean, in his recommendation, his first recommendation was you could put a total of 13 24-inch culverts in, but that would cause excessive downflow issues. So he settled on 4 24-inch culverts, so.
The engineer said 424?
Yes, it's in his report. That's what he,
Do you know who that was, who the engineer?
IMEG,
Gudenkauf?
Gudenkauf, Michael Gudenkauf. I guess that's all I got.
And I was just gonna throw this out too, not to be hasty, but potentially we could look into and discuss with, well, probably with you, Dirk, and then also with Ross about potentially issuing some form of a statement from the county just in support of the township too. If this actually would go, hopefully to a judge someday. You know,
Hopefully.
I mean,
Should've been there a long
hopefully that
time
would help,
ago
I don't know, but, I mean, certainly the way I see it, it's pretty cut and dry in terms of just common sense. You drive there, you look at the fact that the culverts are full of water and there's absolutely no flow going through them whatsoever.
Well, I reached out to the Township Association, she reached out to the association's lawyer, and he called back, he said, his opinion was it's a slam dunk case for the township, but
It should be.
But that's what we thought.
that's
a
what we
year and a
thought
half ago,
when we,
too.
Started this,
That doesn't keep you from getting sued.
yeah.
Gotta be
You know,
on the
you
right
could-
side of the court to make a slam dunk though, right?
Yeah, well, that's right.
Well, you get into the court side of things, and it's been a while, but, you know, I recall when we were having the same kind of issues with Putney, and, you know, this is Brown County, you know, what's, normal? There's no such thing as normal. I mean, we used to have the Arrows pictures on the wall here, they showed the entire county, you know, one year to the next being green, brown, blue, because it was mostly underwater, and that's, you know, the nature of the beast to a certain extent. But one of the arguments you can get into, you know, from when we were talking with Putney back then, is how, once it's been there, how long, is that considered to be natural?
exactly right.
You know, has it been there 30 years, 50 years, 60 years? That's what it is.
Yeah.
The glaciers made it.
And, you know, even if it's man-made obstructions that are in there, I mean, you remember, we argued over an inch of height on that thing for the potential water, and there's how many landowners over there that, you know, used to farm that ground, and it's underwater and has been for 25 years now? You know, the normal's, there's no such thing as normal. There's, what do we got now, and how long is it gonna stay that way? This is a tough nut, you know, to crack, but, you know, to assume you can be guaranteed I'm never gonna be underwater for, you know, is
Well,
a bit of a stretch
if
for
you go
this
back to
county.
the 30s and 40s, my dad hunted ducks in that area, and that was underwater then.
Yeah.
So it got dried up at some point, they went to farming it, and then
Mhm.
the water come back eventually. So it's historic, but how many 7-inch rains has Leola recorded in the years. I mean,
Yeah,
that just don't happen very often, but when
but it does and it will.
It will, does and it will. It's like Elm Lake up there, 11 inches there.
Oh, yeah.
3,
You
4 years
can't-
ago.
you
That
can't-
structure was there for how many decades and never,
No, you
Went over
can't
the overflow?
size every culvert for a
No.
7-inch rain.
That was a record-setting flood.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was up there.
but your point is, you know, both sides are wasting a lot of money here without coming to a resolution on it.
That's right.
And
Well, the problem with their side is, they have 2 sons that are lawyers, so, there you go.
Mhm.
So there's only one side wasting money.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, thanks everyone for all the information. Next up, we've got the Richmond Dam update. Representative Northrup did a good job of updating us on the results of the Appropriations Committee meeting last week. I got this yesterday afternoon from Scott Mines. Here's the update for the week. SFC continues driving sheet piling on the upstream coffer dam, which was already stated. SFC is maintaining lake elevation of 1349. Foothills Contracting will start building the upstream coffer dam the week of 7/27, which was yesterday. Bauer Foundations is scheduled to start full production of the seepage cutoff wall on August 3rd, and they'll be working 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, until the cutoff wall is completed. So that was the update as of yesterday. Does anyone have anything additional?
I'm curious about the 24-hour thing, that's gonna be noisy. I don't care, I won't hear them, but
Oh, it is noisy.
It is, and the people directly north of the dam have
commented
stated
as
that,
such.
commented that.
They understand.
Isn't it pretty radical how much it would speed the process up, though, if you work 24 hours versus just
Oh,
say
yeah.
12?
Yeah,
Like,
it
cost
takes,
savings, too.
it
It's
shortens
not-
that process
yeah.
considerably, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
they
you're right
understand.
about
It's not convenient,
noise
but they
levels.
understand.
But they did go on to say that Journey and SFC and everybody have been very good to work with and accommodating the inconvenience, so. And that's all I have for,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
this is Scott over at the EM office. The other good thing about running 24 hours, I believe, once they get that wall constructed, I think the lake can start taking water back on. So, I know there's been some issues with that, but, so the sooner they get that wall built, the sooner we get more water in the lake and get that built back up.
all right. Yeah, that's positive news, that's good, that's good. That way, if we get any significant fall moisture, that'll help, and maybe some good runoff in the spring.
I don't think they can let it go all the way up, but I think I heard they can let it come up like 8 feet or 10 feet.
8 or 10
Right.
feet, yep.
10 is what I...
10 is what I heard as well.
Just get started.
What is it down, I thought it was only down to 11 from top. What was it down, do you remember?
Huh?
What is it down to normal level? I thought it was
12
only
foot,
supposed
I
to be
think.
11 feet. Okay. So
I
most
believe.
come back.
So if they let it come back
Yeah,
up
it's
10,
our
that's
12.
That's really good.
the majority of what they had,
Yeah.
right?
We just need
Yeah.
a 6-inch Leola rain and we'll be back in business.
Right, exactly.
Little cloud season and we're
It
ready to go.
happens.
All right.
So the
anyone else?
residents have been doing a lot of cleanup,
Yep.
which is good, and there's been a lot of good communications between Game Fish and Parks and the residents, and some cooperative efforts
Yep.
with doing some of that, and there's some residents that are working on taking out some of the silt in front of their properties and things like that. We've even got some of them that are gonna be talking about pretty substantial amounts of material being taken out, which isn't gonna help the road any, but this is the opportunity to do that if they're gonna. And so they've been in contact with the highway department as well, to make sure we can try and at least coordinate that and accommodate it as best as possible, so.
Yeah, both cleanup days went really well, and we still got the dumpsters out there for people to put their stuff. I mean, we're still getting stuff in those dumpsters that shouldn't be there, we're having to take out. And then piles of tires.
Happens all the time.
All right. Anyone else have anything to add? Thank you for that, Scott. All right, we will move on. First reading of ordinance 331, county gross receipts tax and a use tax. This is the result of the passage of Senate Bill 96, came out of this last legislative session, which gives the counties the ability to, or the option of implementing up to a half-cent sales tax to help reduce the amount of owner-occupied tax paid at the county level, the county's portion of the owner-occupied tax. So again, it's an option for counties to enact if they so choose. After a lot of discussion, we have decided to pass the ordinance approving the half-cent sales tax at a half-cent. And we have the initial draft here today, which we intend on amending, because our intent as a commission is to pass the ordinance, but direct it directly to a vote of the people on November 3rd. We want the voters to decide whether it's good for residents of Brown County or not. We as a commission are just following through with one option that was given to us to help offer a certain amount of tax relief to a certain class of people. That would be the owner-occupied people. It does not benefit renters, ag people, commercial, but it will offer some relief on the owner-occupied part of the county tax bill. So again, that's our intent, but we want to emphasize, we want the voters on November 3rd to weigh in on that, our decision, and vote it up or vote it down based on the amount of benefit that the residents of Brown County feel it will afford them. Anyone else have a comment that you'd like to make?
Well, I think your point that it's an option and an opportunity, right or wrong, that the state has presented. For the 30-plus years that I've been here, we've tried to find different ways to broaden our tax base. Fought hard for several years for a portion of the liquor tax because of the expenses that we have for jail and those kind of things, unsuccessfully. It's an opportunity for us to take advantage of a different revenue stream, sales tax. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but as a regional trade center for Brown County, I think there's going to be an opportunity for us to capture some of that sales tax revenue from non-citizens of Brown County. And not that we don't appreciate our neighbors, but there's a certain number of our neighbor counties that come to Aberdeen for shopping and things like that, as well as what we get from tourism and hunting, fishing, and those types of things. So it will come at a cost because we all pay sales tax on things that we buy within the county as well. But I think that we're going to capture more than we're going to see benefit from for Brown County. And so I agree and advocate that it's an opportunity that I think we should try and take advantage of. And I do appreciate and prefer, even though it's not explicitly in the language, even though it was considered to directly refer it, that would be my preference for us, unless somebody tells us explicitly that we can't, to allow the people that do show up to vote to have the final say on it.
Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to me, this is an issue that I appreciate that it will go to the ballot for the voters to decide in November. I think it needs to. I think it's an issue that people care about. Property taxes have been one of the most debated issues in the last couple of years in South Dakota. Just yesterday, I was playing around on Beacon, and I was looking at some homes here, and one that kind of stuck out was a home that recently sold, and I would call it a middle-class home. It was in Aberdeen, within the city limits of Aberdeen. It was a nice house, but still, middle class. And the property taxes, all together were over $6,000 per year. And I saw that, and it's just like, it kind of makes you pause for a second. I mean, that's over $500 every month just for one home. So I think the legislature and the governor recognized the need that something needed to be done to kind of stop the growth that we've seen in property taxes. I mean, I've maintained the position, I think property taxes as a whole are too high. It's just we as a county have very limited options to help that, because we still have government to fund, we still have highways to pave, and we have jails to maintain, and all the other functions of county government. That being said, this issue, there's a lot of good in this bill, but then there's also some concerns I have. One of the concerns would be the way that the dollars are distributed. And I think when they looked at that, they chose, I would say, the easy way by just distributing the dollars based on where they were collected, which is similar to how cities do it also. So they did choose the easy way there. One of the concerns I have for some of our, not so much for Brown County, but for our neighboring counties, is that there's a lot of dollars that flow out of Day County, Marshall County, Fink County, all of our adjacent counties, McPherson, Edmonds. So I do wish that the way they crafted this would have been more favorable towards some of the small counties. Maybe they could have distributed the funds based on population or number of owner-occupied homes or assessed value of owner-occupied homes within the county. Perhaps that could even be changed in the future. I wish they would have looked at that, just because you talk about, every year you talk about, struggling small towns, small communities. What I don't like about this is that it's probably going to benefit Sioux Falls more than anyone, and it's going to not benefit areas, small communities, probably of under 10,000 people. That being said, I think Brown County probably will be on the winning end of this, so I think it'd be foolish for us not to at least consider it today and send it to the people to vote on. But I'll reserve maybe the rest of my thoughts for second reading, but I do think that I appreciate the legislature addressing this issue. I do think there's some things that maybe in the future should be worked on and fixed, though.
I agree. I think, not a lot of consideration for the impact for all the counties in northeast South Dakota. It was basically, the top 6 counties on the southeast and the southwest part of the state that have had big population growth and a lot of increased pressure on values based on people coming in and paying top dollars and pushing values up, which has contributed a lot to that. But like I said, I agree. It's not perfect, but it's an avenue and an opportunity, and I think we'll benefit. Get some donor funds from our neighboring counties, and it's not to put them at a disadvantage, but, if the opportunity's there. And then, once again, I agree that, we give people an opportunity that do show up to vote in November to have a final say on it.
It gives relief for young families owning homes, or anybody owning a home. And I'm excited to support that while also recognizing that unfortunately, it's not gonna help anybody around us. But I think it is going to benefit Brown County residents, and we are elected to represent Brown County residents. But I'm glad we plan on sending it to the vote.
Carl, did you have a comment?
I just have a question, and that would be, it's a comment question. How many dollars do we anticipate that this will generate over what period of time? And then how much of those dollars for the sales tax on that half penny would be coming from out of state or out of the Brown County area? Would 50% be coming from that, or 70%? And then how big of an impact will it make for our homeowners for reduction? Will it be 35% across the board? Or those are just things to think about. And the reason I'm mentioning those, I'm thinking about them right now. And it'll be nice to know that I have a 35% decrease coming if I vote yes on this when it comes up in November. If I have no idea what's going to benefit me in November, I'm probably not going to vote for it. So I'm just giving you some food for thought.
I know during the legislative session, South Dakota Counties was provided some numbers by the Department of Revenue with some rough estimates based on what they knew at that time. I don't have that sheet in front of me. Julie, do you have it with you? Gene, do you have it with you?
I don't have it with me. Brown County did estimated 94% of the county levy. So, as far as regions in the county. Our county levy right now is 3.385 mils. And so the percentage you're gonna save is gonna vary depending on where you're at in the county. Aberdeen City's overall levy is 15.9, so 3.385 mils is 21%. That could potentially be reduced due to that. If you look at places like, where I live, Bath Township, that's 11.49 is the overall levy. Possible reduction of up to 29% if we could eliminate the county tax. If you look at little cities like Hecla, who's got a really high city levy, their city levy is 25.4. They're still gonna get the 3.85 county levy against that, that's only 16% or 13% of their overall tax bill. So, there's gonna be places in the county that can see reductions up to 35, 38, 39%. Places in the county that can see reductions maybe as low as 15 or 18%.
That's of the county portion or their total tax bill?
Total.
Of the total tax bill?
Oh, if I had some money, I would. I don't have any money. Is this a private meeting where nobody's gonna want me to look good or have my arms and legs? Jesus loves us, he doesn't kill us.
Thank you.
What's wrong with this town? Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Somebody's going to prison for what this town has done to me. Johnny and I have been attacked first up there since 2008.
Carl, do you have
Violating
anything
the law.
else that you need to, okay. So that's our intent, that's how we initially drafted it because we were under the assumption that we didn't specifically have the authority to send it directly to the voters. After a conversation last week with the Department of Revenue, it was decided that we're gonna go out on a limb here and change the verbiage to directly do that, send it directly to the voters, and I guess beg forgiveness afterwards. So, November 3rd, we'll have a better idea of what the voters wish and whether they think it's a good idea or not.
We've talked about it, and just to clarify the point with that, if there's an opt-out, that is an option that's specifically in statute that allows the entity, the county commission, to refer it directly, and it's explicitly in the statute for an opt-out. There was an amendment that was considered that didn't get into the bill to do the same for this particular measure, and it was considered, and like Chairman Sutton indicated, there's mixed feelings about whether we can or can't or should or shouldn't do that, but it's something that was discussed and considered, and then just through the process of so many different amendments and things being considered, it didn't get included into it. And I think through our discussions, and that was, my thought as well, that we've discussed that ultimately the people that show up for the election will have final say on it, and we think they should have a shot at that. If somebody wants to force the issue to say we shouldn't be doing that, then that's an option and an opportunity. But this saves, a group of people having to get signatures to go do it if they're against it, or, us doing that, and trying to, as you indicated, we're here to try and represent the people of the county, and there's different perspectives on different things, and this gives them every opportunity, well, also the opportunity to take advantage of, this that's been put in front of us as an option.
The property tax system in and of itself is kind of it's a unique animal, and there's a lot of moving parts. There seems to be some question on how this will and could potentially impact TIFs, which, as you know, Aberdeen is famous for having almost a record number of TIFs in the state, so that will also probably impact Rapid City and Minnehaha County. The jury's still out on maybe the logistics of that. It could potentially impact opt-outs. So there are some things that, between the Department of Revenue and our Rockstar County auditors, will have to work through and figure out.
Not kill me. Thank you.
So, that's our intent, and we would stand by for any questions before we take action on the first reading of this ordinance.
Yeah, Lynn just asked me to read the first reading.
You bet.
An application has been made by the Brown County Board of Commissioners to impose a county gross receipts tax and a use tax Hearing to be held in the Commissioners' Chambers Courthouse Annex, Brown County, South Dakota, on July 28, 2026. Proposed ordinance number 331, for the purpose of providing additional revenue for Brown County, South Dakota, by imposing a county gross receipts tax pursuant to the powers grants to the county by the state of South Dakota by South Dakota Codified Law 10-XX, entitled Uniform County Non-Ad Valorem Tax Law, and acts mandatory thereto. The purpose of the county gross receipts tax is to provide property tax relief on the county property tax levy for all property classified as owner-occupied. All monies collected by the county from the gross receipts tax must be deposited into a property tax reduction fund, which is hereby created, from and after the first day of January 2027. A 0.5% on the gross receipts of all persons engaged in business with the jurisdiction of Brown County, South Dakota, who are subject to the South Dakota Retail Occupational Sales and Service Tax, South Dakota Codified Law 10-45, in the same rate upon all transactions or use, storage, and consumption, which are subject to the South Dakota Use Tax, South Dakota Codified Law 10-46, and acts mandatory thereto.
So that is the original verbiage, and we need to amend that to reflect the fact that we're going to direct it to a vote of the people on November 3rd. So at this time, if we're ready and anyone's willing, I would entertain a motion to add that amendment, amend this draft to reflect that, and then we'll go on to pass the amended version.
Motion to amend. You need a motion for it first and then amend, or motion to amend for it as amended?
We'll amend it first and then pass the final version.
You need, that's the way you need it? Okay, sorry, just to clarify. Second.
So we have a motion by Dinger, a second by Weiss, to amend our original to reflect the fact that we're gonna direct it to the vote of the people on November 3rd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now I would entertain a motion to approve the amended version ordinance.
So moved.
Motion by Weiss. Second by Dinger. Any further discussion? Everyone understands what we're doing? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Go ahead, Commissioner Weiss.
If I could, just to clarify, and you had mentioned it, and then Gene had talked about it, that on any given tax bill that you have for anybody, but, especially owner-occupied, the county's levy is a significant portion, but by no means the largest portion of anybody's property tax bill, and this would be to offset the county's portion up to and almost including the entire amount of that, whatever percentage that happens to be. And anybody that happens to have an owner-occupied home within an incorporated city, I think with rare if any exceptions, the city's levy is higher than the county's is, and then the majority of that property tax is for local effort for public education, just for clarification, because a lot of people don't recognize that, and not to be critical about that, but that's the reality of it. And that can be clarified on the Department of Revenue's website, as well as through your office, to see how that split works out. And that speaks to the, the percentage of relief that any individual might get is dependent on, where you're at and which other levies are levied on that piece of property.
A property tax bill is really in effect several property tax bills all in one that the county collects and then distributes. The only one the county can control is the county's portion of that property tax bill, and that's the only one we're dealing with. And that will get the same levy reduction across the county, whether you're in Aberdeen or Groton or Bath Township or Lincoln Township or Hecla. But the other property tax bills vary depending on the city you're in, the township you're in, the school district you're in, whether you're in a James River, well, you are all in James River water, but some road districts, some drainage districts and things like that, that some may or may not be in, fire districts.
Yep.
And those are all separate bills that aren't touched by this.
Yeah, so just help clarify.
And just for further clarification, there were two primary property tax bills passed in the legislative session. Senate Bill 96 gives counties the option of imposing up to a half-cent sales tax. Senate Bill 245 utilizes the sunset of the 0.3 of a cent sales tax that goes, the reduction that goes away next July 1st. And so that ballpark, $120 million will go towards the school levy, general fund levy on your school. And that's not an option. That'll be automatic for all taxpayers, all counties in the state. So that'll just automatically take effect unless the legislature changes something next January, February. But at this point, that will be a further reduction in property taxes a year from now, July 1st. That property tax reduction will go into effect.
Actually, you'll see that sales tax collect starting next year. We'll actually see the reduction this upcoming tax bill in January.
Oh, okay.
Levy's gonna go from, the owner occupied's gonna go from 2.5 something to 0.699, so almost about 1.9 mils. So there'll be 1.9 mils that could come off right away in January on this bill, and if the county were to collect their sales tax, you could see an additional, probably close to another 2.8 to 3 mils come off the following year. So the two together could be, you know, in my case, in Bath Township, a 45% decrease. That, you know, I don't know if you'll talk about TIFs or not, but
Another day.
Another day, that's fine.
They are a fact of life and they need to be discussed, but probably not today. All right, anyone else have anything? Seeing none, we will move on. Second reading, possible adoption of the following ordinances. Lynn?
Ordinance 328, an ordinance amending Title 4, Second Revision, Brown County Ordinance as amended, to rezone certain described properties filed by petitioner Stanley and Carol Gage to go from Ag Preservation District to Mini Ag District.
All right, is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 328? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move. Second.
Motion by Denner, second by Weiss. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Abstain.
Okay, Commissioner Gage abstained, or Senator, Representative.
Or legislator.
Yeah, has abstained, motion passes.
Ordinance 329, an ordinance to amend Title 4 zoning ordinance of Brown County, South Dakota regarding Title 4 zoning, Chapter 4.02 jurisdiction. The provisions of Title 4 shall apply with the unincorporated area of Brown County, South Dakota, including areas of joint jurisdiction being 1 mile outside of Groton city limit boundary, 1 mile outside of Hecla city limit boundary, and 1/2 mile outside of Frederick city limit boundary, removing 1.5 miles of Warner city limits, and also including the incorporated communities of Claremont, Columbia, removing Burton and Stratford as established on the map entitled the official zoning map of Brown County, South Dakota.
All right, is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 329? Seeing none, all in favor, no, excuse me, better ask for a motion first. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve ordinance 329.
Move.
Second. Motion by Gage, second by Denner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance 330, an ordinance to amend Title 5 subdivision regulations of Brown County ordinances. Title 5 subdivision regulations, Chapter 5.01 general provisions. Jurisdiction, these regulations shall apply within the unincorporated areas of Brown County, South Dakota, and including the incorporated municipalities of Claremont, Columbia, removing Burton, including Stratford, yet excluding and including areas of joint jurisdiction within Frederick, 1/2 mile outside of city limit boundary, Groton, 1 mile outside city limit boundary line, and Hecla, 1 mile outside city limit boundary line, removing Warner, 1.5 miles.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 330? See none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
Motion by Dinger,
Second.
second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, authorize Carly Winter, State's Attorney, to sign documents for VOCA and DASA grants.
You guys have approved her to apply for those, and you're authorized chairman to sign them. Everything's been sent to Carly, so we need to give her the authorization.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Dennert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next up, 2027 budget hearing. What's that?
Budget supplement hearing.
Oh, budget, I'm sorry, budget hearing.
We have two of them that we need to pass today. First of all, I need you to unassign $992,872.07 from the jail assigned funds to supplement the maintenance budget for the purchase of the new jail.
Move.
Motion by Weiss,
Second.
second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, and then I need a motion to supplement the maintenance budget with that.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Dinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And then I need a motion to unassign $256,404.02 from the Fairgrounds Highway Road Fund and supplement the Highway Road and Bridge.
Move. Motion by Dennert.
Second.
Second by Gage.
Hope I say no.
You have that right. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
What's for pieces of L?
And then a motion to supplement, the highway.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Dinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Guys keep reducing mud at the fair.
All right, now, approve the 2027
That's my point.
FY 2027 provisional budget, set hearing date, and authorize advertising.
Move.
Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Dennert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Hold on one thing.
Oh.
The $500 that we talked about putting into that capital,
500,000.
yep, for the grandstand, according to legislative audits, we cannot do that way unless it's something that we're gonna continue to promise every year to build on. If it's something that we just wanna assign to fairgrounds for the grandstand, we would do that like at year end, like we did last year with the fairgrounds money and stuff for the roads and.
So we can't add it, I thought it was added to her budget now.
It cannot be part of the budget unless you're gonna spend it in '27, that's what they're telling me.
So.
At this
I thought we had a
stage.
fund for
At this stage.
Yep, so basically we can assign it at year end,
Okay.
like we did for the roads last year out there.
If we had like
But it would not be part
a,
of the budget, so.
if we had a grandstand improvement fund, could we do it that way?
Yes, but then you'd have to set it that you're gonna set so much every year.
Every year?
So we will wait till December, then decide at
Earmark.
that point.
Yeah, then you basically earmark it for that.
That can be our intent, but it may change and it's not official until.
That's okay, 'cause I was half interested in visiting with Rachel just about that anyway. I think our intent is pretty clear, but I'd like to maybe visit with her just about that briefly anyway, before we do it, so.
This gives you time to do that until the end of the year.
And just a comment for anyone listening, talking to Scott here. Preliminarily, the 2027 budget would be about 53 million, which is about 3 million less than last year's budget.
Got that now?
I do. Do you know what portion is general fund?
That'd be a Lynn question, I don't have, well, maybe I do have the numbers.
$24,873,553.32.
24 million.
Yeah. I can get it to you after.
You wanna take a picture?
Yeah.
I'll want it back, so you can take a picture of it.
Yeah, just remove that capital accumulation there. Off of that.
But last year, our adopted budget was 56,706,000 and change.
So 3.3 million less. Go in the right direction.
Give that to her.
I just wanted to say that for the record.
We're trying.
Just wanted that on the record.
All right, next, approve and authorize chairman to sign payment number 3 for landfill cell number 5.
Move.
Oh,
We didn't
I didn't
vote.
ask, sorry about
Oh.
that. Got it backed up, I need to ask for a motion on the provisional budget.
We got the motion.
Got the motion.
Just need to vote.
All in,
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we can move on to authorize chairman to sign payment number 3.
Move.
Motion by Dinger.
Second.
Second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, now consent calendar. Lynn.
okay. Approval of the general meeting minutes of July 21st.
Move. Motion by Denner.
Second.
Second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Dinger. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Travel request.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Denner, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Lease agreement.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Auditor's report of accounts for June of 2026.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Denner. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Zoning ordinance to set hearing date and authorize advertising.
Move. Motion by Gage, second by Dinger. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Final plat, first one being Wright's first edition.
Move. Motion by Dinger, second by Denner. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Mark Erickson's third subdivision plat.
Move. Motion by
Second.
Dinger, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Zeck family first edition.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Rath second edition.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Dinger, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Staying on the raft.
I abstain on the Rath one.
Okay.
And then McNeil Randall first edition to Elm Lake.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Denner, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Is there any other business come before the Brown County Commission this morning? Had a request to go into executive session. Yes. It is election day, so this is an important election for the people of South Dakota, so I encourage everybody to, if you haven't already, vote. Had a request to go into executive session for personnel and maybe contracts.
Move. And add legal.
Add legal, okay. Motion by Weiss.
Second.
Second by Denner. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we are back in session out of exec with no action as a result. Before we adjourn, I don't know how, I'm sure it'll be minimal, but you might want to take a look at it. Based on advice from Allison, we had talked about hiring a full-time person to share between you and Patty. We've changed our mind on that, and we're gonna recommend that you hire a part-time.
Okay.
If that's something you still feel would be advantageous. And Patty will be able to hire a seasonal part-time if she feels that's necessary.
Okay.
So whatever the projected cost of that full-time person is compared to 2 part-time with no benefits, I'm sure monetarily it's gonna be pretty insignificant when you consider a little, maybe an increase in wage, but no benefits, so if it impacts it at all, we just wanted you to be aware of it.
Okay.
That's all I had. Is there anything else we need to discuss today? If
I
not,
can make any changes to the budget between now and the election.
Yep, I just wanted to give you a heads up, we can talk about that.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Denner, second by Weiss to adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, motion carried. We're adjourned.